Yeah. Tap in, tap in, tap in, tap in, tap in. Yeah. And what's going on in my sports junkies, my four lifers, the diehards, and the sad little people whose team may never won a damn thing. But hey, I can relate. Welcome to all my listeners, whether you're watching on YouTube or audio only and or on X. This is another episode of Break the Huddle. All right, man. Listen, before we kick things off, don't worry, we got a lot of topics to cover, right? We got tragedy, Kyren Lacy, and then the Nico Alamavavava, and then we got NBA playoff preview. We got the play-in later. It's Tuesday. Look, we're gonna get this done, but don't worry. Grab your jersey, settle in, and let's break the huddle. Who got my back? Who got my back? Who got my back? Who got your back? Who got that swerve? Okay. And before we kick things off, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on X, and follow Break the Huddle on all your favorite platforms, whether you're watching or listening. Don't miss out on any of the real talk we got coming your way. All right, let's get into it. Man, first on the docket, man. First, actually, it's been a while. Maybe I'll give you guys a little bit of an update. You know what I mean? We've been out of commission, but I'm here. I'm better. I'm trying to get things going. I'm trying to get some motion back to Break the Huddle. So what we plan to do is we plan to stream every night. We got the NBA playoffs coming. Play-in starts tonight, and that's why we're gonna cover every day of the NBA playoffs. Don't hold me to it, but this is what I'm trying to do, man. I'm trying to actually make an impact. I'm trying to give you guys the best color commentary that I possibly can, right? But yeah, man, we gotta get off. I gotta get my shit off, man. We start off tonight with talking about the tragic passing of Kyren Lacy, LSU star wide receiver. And honestly, the entire story from start to finish, it doesn't sit well with me. I mean, it never sat well with me. And it's such a layered topic. It's a layered story. You know, from the outside looking in, anybody would just simply go, "Oh, he was a bad guy. He killed somebody. There's so many judgment you could pass on him, right? And you could just write him off. But at the end of the day, that was somebody's brother, that was somebody's son, that was somebody's teammate, that was somebody's friend. There's possibly some younger people in that man's life that looked up to him. So him leaving this earth way too soon did a lot of damage to a lot of people out there. So we're gonna listen to this news report real quick on the matter.
Former LSU wide receiver Kyren Lacy has died at the age of 24 in Houston. The Harris County Sheriff's Office says Lacy was found dead in his car after a police chase, and deputies say he shot himself. Good evening, I'm Jacob Bradford. The Sheriff's Office in Texas also says that Lacy was arguing with a family member before that shooting into the ground and fleeing late last night. Now, he was expected to be in court tomorrow in Lafourche Parish after he was accused of being in a hit-and-run crash in December that left a 78-year-old man dead in Chack Bay. Shortly before midnight, a constable spotted Lacy driving and attempted a traffic stop. And that's when deputies say he took off. Now, that pursuit lasted several miles before ending in a crash. That's when officers say that they noted that Lacy had suffered what they say was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, Lacy's father, Kenny Lacy, posted on Facebook saying, quote, "Mental health is real, and for the most part, it's invisible. Don't ignore the signs, even if they may seem small. Our lives have changed forever, and this will never be okay. But God needed my baby more than he was needed here." Now, we spoke with one of the men that knew Kyren Lacy the best, his high school football coach from Thibodeau High School. He says Kyren was a fun-loving kid that he loved to coach.
During Kyren Lacy's high school football career, he was ranked one of the best wide receivers in the country, earning all district honors in 2019. And when he graduated from Thibodeau High School, he had multiple universities wanting him to come play on their team.
When you coach these kids, you spend more time with them than you do with your actual family, and they become your kids. They become your family.
Chris Dugas was Lacy's high school football coach. He says they stayed in touch after he graduated in 2020.
We'd message every now and then after games, and I'd send him a message, great game, great job, love you, coach, love you, Kyren, the whole thing. We kept in touch through that. We keep in touch for holidays and message each other, but super proud.
Dugas says he was close to members of Lacy's family when he himself was growing up. After hearing of Kyren's death, Coach Dugas says he was caught off guard by the news.
I mean, it's just a shock to all of us, definitely prayers out there to the family, he had so many friends and, people that he had touch with through, not just through football, but through other experiences. So it's just a tough day for the entire community in Thibodeau.
Coach Dugas says anytime he saw Kyren, he was always in a great mood, and that made an impact on his team.
He was the type of kid that walked in the locker room with a smile on his face all the time. I don't know if I ever seen him not laughing or joking around or just having a good time at what he did. He was real fun-loving, a real good spirit, and it wore off on his teammates. It brought the best out in them too. It's just a gut punch to hear that he's just going too soon.
And Lacy was very.
Oh man, that one is that one is a tough one, y'all. Look, his pops sounded like he wasn't surprised. His pops did it. It did sound like something. It did sound like something. A man felt coming, right? I mean, if you really think about, he probably knew his son. He probably understood where his son was at mentally, just at the slightest. He probably knew his. There's been better days for sure. When in reality, man. I mean, if you ask me, I think Kyren Lacy should have. Well, everybody wish he would have not have committed that act, but in reality, I wish he would have just settled down and actually seen this through, right? Because God, who knows what could have happened from his trial. And that's just I guess that's the saddest part about it, right? But all in all, man, we got 30 on X right now. Shout out to everybody on X. I know it's late night. Shout out. Thank you for coming to the stream. But right now we are speaking on the Kyren Lacy tragedy. And here's my thing. This is a LSU standout wide receiver racking up 58 catches, 866 yards. He was a dynamic player, fast, physical, clutch in some big moments. And he was liked within his LSU community. You would think that he had some sort of NFL future, even throughout all of this, because he competed at his pro day. He's been ranked number 6 wide receiver in this class by Mel Kiper. He had a bright future. So no matter what, no matter if the outcome would have ended up him not seeing jail time, I'm sure Kyren Lacy would have been on an NFL roster come come the spring, right? But we got to dive deeper. Like we honestly have to dive deeper into this phenomenon, into this story, because what I see is a young man with resources. I see a young man with money, no guidance, nobody there to tell him no, nobody to tell him to slow down, and he let life go off the rails. He that was a fault of his. But man, things really took a turn, because in the end he was arguing with a family member. The cops were called. They were called after Kyren fired a gun into the ground from arguing with said family member. When deputies tried to stop him, Kyren, he fled, leading a car chase. The pursuit ended when Kyren crashed his car, and when police officers approached, they found he had died from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Just like that, a young man with all this promise in the world was gone. And that is just it's a truly a sad thing to see, honestly. Damn, it was close. SMH can't even feel bad for bro. It's not. It's. I don't think it's a matter. Personally, I don't think it's a matter of feeling. Personally, I don't think it's a matter of feeling bad for bro. I'll be honest with you. I think what we can feel bad for is just like the story as a whole. Like a young man with all these resources, no no guidance, no nothing. And I like to look, and for me, I'll be honest, I like to look at where we are, like where we are as college football, where we are on the NIL, where we are. I believe things like putting a lot of money in these young kids' hands causes some sort of issues. What resources did he have? I meaning money. Money is the resources, cars, the notoriety, the the social resources. But that's part. It's not. Look, that's part of it. The entire story in itself is part of it. The marine who passed away. Everything everything played a part in this sad story, because now you have a dad who lost a child forever, and he lost a child back in December when that case happened. But like I said, we got to talk about a broader context here, because the story doesn't just exist in a vacuum. Because at the end of the day, the NCAA opened the door to NIL in 2001, and all these guys just get paid, an unprecedented amount of money, opportunities to profit from their name, image, and likeness. For a star like Kyren at a powerhouse like LSU, a lot of that shit could get to your head. A lot of that shit could really get to your head. Coming from the hood, not having much. Like this entire thing needs real oversight. Like, and I'm at a point in saying that NIL needs federal oversight, not just a different set of state laws. We need a full on federal oversight of this entire thing. Because at the end of the day, you got top college football players current anywhere from $100,000 to over $1 million annually through NIL. It's life-changing money, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, a guy, let's say I'm getting $1 million a season. I just made $4 million. I could make $4 to $5 million. It's just at base $1 million a season. At base, 700,000. That's a lot of money for a young man. But there's a flip side. NIL just, all it did was create this Wild West environment. There's no national oversight, no standardized rules across states or conferences, schools, boosters, brands, and all of them are competing for talent. There's no checks and balances. There's little to no checks and balances. And that's the worst part. Most of these guys, 18, 19, now they negotiating contracts when they should be worrying about school at the most part, worrying about practice, film, and performance. But now there's a whole nother element. We got brand deals. Oh, I gotta make this appearance. I gotta make that appearance. I gotta make this post. I gotta make that post. Their lives is a working machine at this point, right? For somebody like Kyren, like I said, balancing football, academics, newfound business ventures could be overwhelming, and in the pressure of a looming lucrative NFL contract, it's just not hard to imagine the weight somebody like that was carrying. And we got to break it down, though. We got to break it down. UGA players racing, speeding tickets, etc. It ain't just him. It's all over. Players choking, itches out in the stairway. Yo, I can't. I'm trying to tell you, bro. It's not all over the country. You got people making mistakes. You got people doing way more things than they ever could imagine, simply off of making newfound bread. And that is the scary part. So at the end of the day, look, when it comes back to NIL and in terms of these athletes, there's no mandatory training, no financial literacy. I talked about this in my one-off Kyren Lacy video. Just the lack of education that they give to these young men at all of these schools. So imagine being 24, facing felony charges, and knowing your draft stock, your dream, is slipping away because the NFL reportedly pulled your draft card over these allegations. That's a lot for anyone to handle. Once again, it's not just feeling bad for Kyren Lacy. It's evaluating and looking at the situation at large. The lack of national oversight, NIL is literally a massive gap. You don't cap deals. We don't regulate how collectives operate, which is mostly booster-led groups. We don't regulate how they pay players. Other states like Texas have stricter guidelines, while some states barely have any. And of course, a football state like Texas definitely probably got ahead of it because NIL is not just legal. It's not just legal for college athletes. NIL is legal for high school athletes. And in a state like Texas, where a lot of football talent come out of that state, we got to make sure shit is under control. We have to. The NCAA has just been so hands off, leaving schools and athletes to figure this out. This inconsistency could lead to exploitation. Shady agents or predatory brands can take advantage of young players who don't know how to vet contracts. You got young players, you have young players taking full on verbal agreements to go to schools. No paperwork, no nothing. The coach says, "Hey, look, I got 250,000 for you. You pull up, you play, we going to get you paid." And you got kids going there thinking, hoping they're going to get 250, and then when it's time to pay up, coaches there with their hands up like, "I never said none of that." We seen that in the case over there at UNLV. When that quarterback left mid-season, he was done. We can't just keep allowing this shit to go on. And Puka, Tennessee QB dude just left his team with 8 no guidelines. It only takes one bad apple, bro. It's only gonna get worse with more kids. Absolutely, it's gonna get more worse. It's gonna get, bro. If I can't imagine it getting more worse than what we see right now. If I'm being honest, I can't imagine it because, look, man, LSU is a football factory. Stars like Kyren, they're under the microscope. He was juggling endorsement deals alongside legal issues. The stress could have been compound. I'm sure he lost all those endorsement deals, actually. But the stress could have been compounded. His lawyer called the legal process a witch hunt, saying Kyren was crushed under the weight of irresponsible and prejudiced process. Whether it's true or not, it paints a picture of just an overall young man who just felt trapped and was feeling the weight of everything around him, right? So when you look at that case in a vacuum, you got to ask yourself, could the NIL have played a direct role in Kyren's tragic end? I believe so. And for people who have been listening to me, they probably understand how much I hate how crazy NIL has gotten. But the proof is in the pudding. Honestly, the proof is in the pudding. We can't really say for sure, and I don't want to oversimplify a complex situation, but mental health struggles are deeply personal, and Kyren was facing challenges well beyond NIL. Public scrutiny, loss of his NFL prospects. We just watched the video of Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels getting drafted, and Kyren Lacy was the video on the screen. They telling each other they love them. He can't wait to see Kyren in the NFL next year. There was so much going on. I was seeing draft scenarios where Kyren fell and the Giants were willing to take him. And now here we are where Kyren Lacy is no longer with us. But on a national level, it's worth asking if there was better oversight, more support, or more mandatory mental health resources for athletes navigating NIL. Could things have turned out differently? I think so. I honestly think so. If the NCAA or schools provided counselors trained to spot signs of distress in high profile players, would someone have reached Kyren in time? You could prevent a lot of things by controlling the money more. You could prevent a lot of things by having giving some real support to these athletes, training them like they are professionals. If you're going to pay them like professionals, you need to train them like professionals. You need to give them game. You need to give them education. It is not just a free for all in this wildly in this minefield that we call NIL. It cannot and should not be just a free for all. They do. They all need agents. They all need agents, but not just your bro, from the block. Not your overzealous daddy. Need actual agents who understand the ins and outs of contracts, negotiating. They need a players union. They need some sort of control to bring it in. They have to. Because the data backs it up. The CDC reports that suicide rates among young men are 4 times higher than women. And then when you factor in all the external pressures like financial stress or public shame, these are things that can be triggers. NIL without guardrails amplifies those pressures. It's not just about the money. It's about the expectations, the spotlight, and the lack of structure to help kids cope. For years, you called them amateurs. For years, all my life, and then some. You called them amateurs. They didn't deserve a penny. They didn't deserve this. They can't do this. They can't do that. And then in the snap of a finger, actually, you just said, "Here, go ahead. Here. You guys can have all the money you want, do anything you want. Go ahead." What type of transition period is that? What is that? all the money does is magnify who you truly are. That's not true. I don't believe that. I don't believe that to be true. I believe that properly educating people on where to put their money, how to put their money, where to spend their money, and maybe not necessarily where to spend their money, but educating kids and helping them literally cope with the expectations of money, being a young professional. I think all of that plays into effect. Like, we got to be real, because at the end of the day, these are kids. These are lessons people can learn. It's not just, these are people still in my opinion, their formative years. You're still in college, and you're still forming yourself. So to have adults in the room to hold your hand and help you form is part of it. Yeah, man. But other than that, look, as we wrap some of this up, we got to bring it right back. Got to bring it right back to bro. He wasn't just a football player. Like I said in the beginning, he was somebody's friend. He was somebody's teammate. He was somebody's son. And the story just reminds us that every highlight reel is a human being carrying burdens we might not see, right? The sports world is perplexed, is left confused. I don't give a fuck. If you tell me what to do with my money, at the end of the day, I'm gonna do what I want with my money. For sure. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will, bro. That's it's not about telling it's not about it's not about telling grown men what to do with the money. You can't tell me there's no benefit to teaching kids financial literacy and teaching and helping kids cope with expectations of the money and helping you can't convince me that there's no benefit into helping create a man. You I'm sure for those who watching, they play football, they play the sport. That's what coaching is. Coaching is helping form people into being better people. Just handing nigga a bag of cash, that shit don't help him grow. NFL grown men still crash with an Asian, etc. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do, bro. But that's not what we're speaking on right now. Definitely. Look, because at the end, look, here's how I see it. When it comes to NIL, we gotta switch gears. We gotta switch gears to Big Bro, not Big Bro, but to Nico Alamavera. It's hard. That's a tongue e malavia. Oh my god. I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to say that shit. I swear I don't know how to say that at all. Oh man, I lost my notes, but it is what it is. Look, he said, bro, if we had no financial literacy when we played, we wouldn't crash. If we had no financial. I mean, of course not. We wasn't making money. We wasn't making money. We not we we built a certain we're built a certain way. I don't know why. We are literally built a certain way. Like what are we talking about right now? Hold on, I'm trying to pull some news up for you guys. All right, man. What we got? How he was raised, etc. matters. I don't doubt that. We got 75 on X right now. How he was raised, etc. matters. Of course. I would I would assume that a lot of people come from decent homes. That doesn't mean that doesn't that doesn't mean you're not liable to crack, bro. m- men do silly things, do crazy things all the time, no matter where you came from. people commit domestic violence, men commit domestic violence, and could come from a two-parent household. Men, nothing, nothing about your background, nothing about your background makes you exempt from crashing in your future. That's a fact. But yeah, man, moving on to Tennessee quarterback Nico Amalavea, a former five-star quarterback recruit from the 2023 class, was the cornerstone of Tennessee football. He signed a groundbreaking NIL deal, reportedly worth $8 million over 4 years with Tennessee. With Tennessee Spies Sports Group Collective in 2022, making him a poster child for the NIL era. In 2024, as a redshirt freshman, he led the Volunteers to a 10-3 record and a college football playoff berth, throwing for 2,616 yards and 19 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Through his performance, he was inconsistent at best against top SEC teams. Now, over this past weekend, Tennessee and Bro publicly parted ways after a dramatic 72-hour period, driven by a breakdown in communication and disagreements over NIL compensation. And here's how some of that went. Now, reports say that Nico was in active contract negotiation with Tennessee's NIL collective. And Bro wanted to increase that annual pay of 2.2 mil to around 4 million. Mind you, we just said his performance at best was inconsistent against top SEC teams. Come on now. There's nothing right about that. He was trying to align with recent quarterback transfers like Carson Beck, $4 million to Miami, and Darian Mensah, $4 million to Duke. His camp reportedly used the upcoming spring transfer portal window on April 16th as leverage. Nico's father publicly denied these claims on X, calling out the reporter and Tennessee staff for leaking games off the field. Now, what they won't tell you is that Nico and his camp was shopping him around. They won't tell you that Oregon head coach calls his coach to let him know that Nico has been looking at offers, flirting with offers, trying to find more money out in the market. So now what Nico did, the quarterback, the head coach just couldn't overlook this kind of bad faith business. They're not going to overlook it, bro. So Nico unexpectedly skipped Tennessee's final spring practice before the orange and white spring game, surprising coaches and his teammates. Sources indicated growing frustration within the program as Nico and his representatives were unresponsive to head coach Josh Heupel and staff attempts to contact him. This absence was seen as a holdout, a rare NFL-style tactic in college football tied to his push for a new deal. You got college athletes holding out. Now, here's what I love that Tennessee did. What I love that Tennessee did was Tennessee announced on Saturday, April 12th, that they're moving on from Nico, with Hopel informing the team at a morning meeting. Nico did not attend the spring game, and Hopel emphasized no one is bigger than the Power T, signaling the program's stance against player-driven demands. I love that move. I love that move because they need to coaches need to take back control. We need to rein it in. We need to rein it in. Now, I'm pro player. Don't get it fucked up. I'm most definitely pro player. I'm pro college football. I want everybody to make their money on. I want everybody to make their chicken. But at the end of the day, what you can't do is act and you can't operate bad business. Because what's happening is it feels like there is a real power dynamic between coaches and players feel that they deserve everything in the world. Players feel that they have the final say so, and you don't. You don't get to just walk in and out of programs. You don't get to sign deals and then also shop around for other potential offers. And honestly, I commend the Oregon head coach for letting Josh Hopel know what's going on under his nose. Puts more trust amongst the coaches, and it lets every team know what you and your camp is all about. That's why with some of these kids are receiving terrible advice. They're receiving bad advice for these actions, and they're being championed because Nico's daddy and his camp don't know nothing about negotiating no 8-figure contracts. You're making $8 million over 4 years, and you were mid in the SEC. What would make you think you deserve? What would make you think you deserve a boost just because you've seen other collectives dish out some pay? Bro, we are not at your mercy, and that takes a lot of balls to believe that this program, this SEC, that the University of Tennessee is at your mercy. They just showed you they just showed him what's going on. They showed him who's really running the show. I love that move by Josh Hopel. Nico is expected to enter the portal as its top player with 3 years of eligibility left. Tennessee left with only 2 scholarship quarterbacks, redshirt freshman Jake Merkenlinger and freshman George McIntyre, both untested. Plans to seek a replacement. The breakup was framed as a clash over NIL expectations, with Tennessee unwilling to meet Nico's $4 million demand, citing his uneven 2024 performance. With a 93.6 passer rating in losses versus 165.3 in wins. And what this NIL deal did for us, what this NIL situation did for the landscape of college football is this was the first public holdout, right? Nico's absence from practice was widely seen as literally the first high-profile player holdout in college football, testing the balance of power between athletes and programs. And that is exactly why I liked the position that Tennessee took. They didn't fold, they didn't bend, and they kept their integrity while understanding that nobody's above the brand, especially in college. the impact of NIL leverage. His departure literally highlights the volatility of NIL deals. It's we have the loyalty. We have literally the loyalty of a hungry dog. A hungry dog will go to anybody that got some food. That don't mean he love you. And I think with all the player movement in college, and I think with all the player movement in college football, all I can really take from this is that you get less continuity. You get less continuity. You're not tied to the fan base like you was before, because at any moment you could come and go. The fans of these schools that prop you up have to continuously go with new players every single time. They have to root for a new batch of kids every single time. Of course, every school has a batch of freshmen and some transfers, but not at this rate. Not in the NIL era. Coaches are flipping over rosters like it's college basketball. And football should never operate that way. Especially not at this level. Another reason why this mattered is literally just Tennessee's position. By cutting ties, Tennessee signaled a limit to player demands, potentially setting a precedent for other programs. However, it risks a step back in 2025 after a college football playoff season. And I think the coach knows that. But at the end of the day, he's gonna go right back to the drawing board. They're gonna figure it out. They're gonna see what they got. They're gonna do what they gotta do. But the one thing they wasn't gonna let is a player run the show. And I think Nico and his camp got a rude awakening. And what it feels like is they're feeding all these blog sites. They're feeding these blog sites all this smoke screen saying they got deals here, they got deals there. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's all cap. I think it's all smoke. And Nico and his daddy ain't got no emotion right now, if we're being honest. Listen, that $4 million ask may face a tight market because as spring portal moves disrupt quarterback rooms and his 2024 stats, number 10 in SEC passing yards, just don't justify the price. Which is why I don't even know why he felt like he was worth that. I don't know. But yeah, man, it absolutely is what it is. What we got to do is we got to cover some of this NBA playing, man. I think damn, we got 82. We got 82 on X right now. Shit is crazy. I can't believe it. 82 on X right now. Shout out to everybody on X. Shout out to everybody on X tapping in with me. I know it's real late, but we got to get this done. We trying to stream every single night, people. We trying to stream every single night. Trying to hit y'all with everything, cover the news, get things going. You smell me? All right, man. So the Warriors literally clinched a spot in the play-in. Now, a lot of people are hating on the Warriors right now because they said the Warriors do bad in the play-in. Warriors and play-in just don't mix, man. Gang, it don't work like that. But hey, because the West was so jumbled up this year, this is not your average. This is not your average type of year. I think the Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves are better than their record. I think the Warriors are better than their record. May display. I think that the Clippers are better than their record, and I think that Memphis might deserve to be where they're at. They fired Taylor Jenkins. I think they deserve to be wherever they are at, right? Which is 8. And personally, when you have the Golden State Warriors in the play-in playing the number 8 team, the Memphis Grizzlies, I honestly think they're gonna get up out of there with a W. They're gonna get out of there with a W, and then the Warriors are going to beat the Houston Rockets. Yep, you heard it here first. They're gonna beat the Houston Rockets. I think Steph Curry's having a hell of a season he's having a hell of a season post All-Star break, right? When Jimmy Butler got there, he didn't have to carry as much. Moses Moody upped his play. Pods upped his play. And for when Jimmy Butler got there, it looked like, okay, looks like the help is finally here. It looks like things started clicking for them, and they look as dangerous as ever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they had to get in the plan because they couldn't stop a Harden masterclass. What are you gonna do against a Harden masterclass? Sometimes you gotta just Kevin Hart meme them, yo. You gotta just Kevin Hart meme them. It's really not a game. But in that game down the stretch, it wasn't like Curry and Jimmy wasn't going band for band. They went band for band. They came up short. They couldn't get it done, right? In the end, they collapsed. Curry missed some shots. Curry missed a lot of shots down the stretch. Kawhi had some game sealing plays in that game, while Harden couldn't miss. But at the end of the day, when it comes to a Memphis Grizzlies team who's kind of in a way almost still searching for an identity, they just happen to be. They're just not the worst team in the West because they got John Moran, they got Jaren Jackson Jr., they got Desmond Bane, they got talent. So they have enough talent that's gonna win them games, but not. I don't see enough talent that's gonna elevate. I don't think they have the talent to elevate them. I don't think they have the team chemistry to elevate them over a high pressure playing game against the Golden State Warriors. I think the 30 ball from Jimmy Butler this past weekend was literally that was just a starter. That was just a starter pack to get them going. Now it's the postseason. This is what you traded. This is what the Warriors traded for. I expect another 30 ball. I expect another like 26, 8-8 type of performance from Jimmy Butler, a couple steals, a real do-it-all type of game while Steph Curry handles business. This is what Jimmy Butler was brought here for, to be a Swiss Army knife. But a Swiss Army knife that could get you buckets. If anything, Jimmy Butler is the absolute total upgrade to Andrew Wiggins. Now, Andrew Wiggins, he played phenomenal in that one series for them. And kudos to bro. They wouldn't have won that without Andrew Wiggins. He played the best basketball of his career. But he kind of came back down to earth. Now, you got Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is going to absolutely turn it on in the playoffs, and he's going to get it done for you. We've seen it before. We've seen him in the finals twice. That's not normal. So if I had to pick, I'm choosing the Golden State Warriors over the Memphis Grizzlies. I just don't think that Ja Morant and company have their head in the game for this, if I'm being totally honest, right? And then as for the other game, you got Atlanta. You got Atlanta versus the Orlando Magic. Now, if you ask me, I like the Magic here. I don't think the Hawks have enough. Personally, I don't think the Hawks have enough. I do think that the Magic with that two-man dynamic duo, they know how to turn it on at just random times, and I don't think that the playing is a random time. I think Paolo Banchero, I think Franz Wagner, I think they'll come to play. I think just simply off of the Atlanta Hawks' lack of flat out bodies, they don't have their best guys on the floor. And Ice Tray is not going to be enough. Ice Tray is not going to be enough when Paolo and Franz is going 30 for 30, right? Back to back. You're not gonna be able to withstand it. That's just my opinion. I like how far the number one overall pick, Rasha, I like how far he's come in his improvement on his rookie season. I think as a late, he looks like everything you wanted out of your number one pick, which is potentially why I feel like the Atlanta Hawks next season with Jalen Johnson back, I think they take a couple steps towards contending in the East. That's just me. And with Ice Tray leading the charge, but as of right now, nah. That ain't it, son. That ain't it, man. Atlanta Hawks, the Dirty Birds, they gonna be sent home real quick. Paolo gonna pack them up. Paolo gonna pack them up, and then Franz gonna mail them back to Germany. Not Atlanta. He's mailing them back to his hometown. Yeah, man. But hey, look, as of right now, shit it's late. I gotta get on. I gotta talk my shit. But just remember, every day at 10 p.m. Eastern, we are talking NBA basketball. We are covering the games. I want to get into this a lot more. I want to schedule out the streams. I want people to tap in. I want people to really participate, come out and show love on the live stream. So we're gonna do these at 10 p.m. Even after you seeing this, we having another one. We're gonna have another one at 10 p.m. tonight. Be there, be square, holla at your boy. Listen, It is what it is. But Don Deuce out.
Got my back. Who got my back? I got your back. Who got my back? I got your back. Who got that swerve? I got that swerve.